Selina, so nice to be with you here today at UC Davis under nothing other than a canopy of olive oil trees. And I say that because of your remarkable efforts in research. Let's dive in right there. Some of the backstory of how you got into researching polyphenols and other bioflavonoids from the olive fruit.
Yeah, so it started almost 20 years ago when I came to UC Davis for graduate school, and I was really interested in pharmaceutical chemistry and designing drug molecules to improve people's health and treat diseases. Towards the end of that, I realized I really want to focus more on preventive care, which comes from our diet, and phenol in our foods are an essential part of that. And in 2008, when I graduated from graduate school here at UC Davis, UC Davis Olive Center, which is getting established, and to start a program doing research on olives and olive oil. And that's when I just dive in and apply what I learned from organic chemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry to olives and learning more about that.
I find it really intriguing. I'm a huge fan. Who's not a fan of extra virgin olive oil? But this has really got to be the right stuff in the end. I mean, we're not speaking about any particular brand of olive oil here, but the nature of good olive oil, it's got to be a few things. It's got to be extra virgin. It's got to potentially be cold press or whatever it has to be. You're the expert, but at the end of the day is in order to extract the richness of these bioactive, these polyphenols, and navigating through the challenges. Really wanted to pick your brain, especially from an environmental perspective. Navigating through these challenges in manufacturing and managing olive oil byproducts, it seems to be a pivotal aspect of your work. Can you share with us a little bit of maybe a moment where a particular challenge or a setback in handling these byproducts led to this unexpected breakthrough in learning, maybe an aha moment in your research?
Sure. So I think I started worrying about byproducts way before the companies in the industry start worrying about it.
Yep.
So when they were just focusing on how to make high quality extra virgin olive oil, I was amazed by the huge amount of the byproduct that we were generating while making this amazing extra virgin olive oil. So that's when I started applying for research grants to work on olive pomace. And we learn a lot of things, but it's also very unstable. So if you collect the olive pomace and you do not refrigerate them, and it becomes a very smelly, fermented, moldy mess. So that was a really quick lesson to learn. In order to have this material to study, we need to make sure it has a proper storage to prevent fermentation at room temperature.
Right. I've seen some of that actually in some of your presentations, heard you lecture numerous times. This has almost got to be flash frozen in order to, stabilize and ensure integrity in order for those actives to translate if we're turning this into this pomace meant for human consumption. Let's now, shift over our lens to Chardonnay marc. So marc, pomace, marc. It's like marc, meek, pomace. But at the end of the day, this Chardonnay, coastal Chardonnay varietal that now scientists are refocusing on, it's kind of like out with the red, in with the white almost. But this whole idea that the bioactives found in the remnants, the pomace of the Chardonnay marc, particularly coastal Chardonnay marc, is actually translating to human health. Tell us about what you know about that.
So our research program is really passionate and interested in utilizing agricultural byproduct as an ingredient for better human and planetary health. Because when we make olive oil or make wine, the raw material is olives or wine grapes. But when we're doing these projects where our raw material is olive pomace or Chardonnay marc, and for us to do really good research on it is to establish fundamental understanding of the actual chemical composition of the raw material we're dealing with, which in this case is Chardonnay marc. And my lab is very passionate about phenolics. So we've been looking at flavanols and these different parts of wine grapes, but also in the Chardonnay mark, as well as what happens after you process the Chardonnay mark.
Right. So let's talk about that, because there's a big area and passion, area of your focus. This sort of downstream effect, or let's call it the biomass of many other industries, may actually recreate some kind of new problem with dealing with a new waste stream. It doesn't seem like that's the case when we're talking about the Chardonnay mark. There's very little remnant footprint. Correct me if I'm wrong, or hold me honest here. But at the end of the day, so now we have these wonderful actives. We're able to take advantage of the remnants, the pomace, the mark from the Chardonnay manufacturing, because we've got the beautiful wine we all enjoy. And there's these health flavonols and polyphenols that we want to take advantage of. But in doing so, we're not creating any new waste streams.
Right.
If you can elaborate on that for us.
Yeah, so it's really important for us to take a holistic approach. That is, meaning we're taking every part of the raw material, in this case is Chardonnay mark, and utilizing the natural properties of these different classes molecules, such as phenolics, oligosaccharides, sugars, fibers, all different parts of it, taking advantage of their natural ability, their properties, and then use them as functional ingredients.
Right. And that's a buzzword term of the day, maybe for a good reason, functional ingredients. There's a complexity to these bioactives, beyond flavonols, beyond polyphenols, and we're looking at the whole oligosaccharide or healthy prebiotic food for the good bacteria, commensal bacteria. We're probably missing a lot of stuff in this general complexity, but the interesting notion is that this is an incredibly beneficial to the environment project as well. Like, take care of Mother Earth as well as, taking care of ourselves at the same time. And this environmental impact of managing byproducts is, of course, undeniably significant. It's a lot of what you do. But if you can, it's a long-winded way of asking you to share maybe an on-ground experience, maybe here at UC Davis or anywhere your research has taken you, that vividly highlights the environmental implications of not managing waste stream byproducts effectively, and maybe how this motivated and influenced your research and your general approach.
I mean, I can go back to olive pomace, for example, because I've been working on that for 15 years. But I would show up at these olive oil processing facilities where the sole purpose is to make olive oil. And there's no planning or thoughts have gone into what to do with these byproducts. So they actually end up paying people to take this valuable, what I would consider valuable byproduct away. And it's not clear what these people do with it. It may create another waste stream. Now you even add transportation to a part of the environmental equation. And that is something I see quite a bit, is we're not looking at it holistically at the beginning when we're trying to make these, what people want to consume, olive oil or wine, but rather to think more like an afterthought. Right. So that's what I see a lot. But now more and more with the effort and showing how valuable and how nutrient dense these byproducts are, sometimes more nutritious in terms of phenolics in the byproduct compared to the product itself. Like in olive oil, a lot of these phenolics, they are water soluble. And so they're actually not in the oil fraction.
They stay behind.
They stay behind. So there's more phenolics in the byproduct than it is in the oil.
Gotcha.
So if you think about that, it's more nutrient dense, and it's a shame that it's not being used for both human and planetary health purpose.
Are you happier today than you were 15 years ago about the handling of either the olive pomace or Chardonnay mark themselves? I mean, are you seeing progress and change through your research on how these major manufacturers are dealing with this biomass? Otherwise landfill, now going toward human health initiatives?
It's a complicated task.
Sure.
Right? And changes are slow because a lot of these require upfront investment. But what I see is we are thinking a lot more about it. We have more understanding than what we used to. but the downstream market still needs to be developed. So who are going to be the user of these products that are developed from these agricultural products? And how are we going to do the process to transform the raw material from these agricultural byproduct to a product that people can enjoy and while improving the environment? And how can we do that in the most efficient and environmental friendly way?
Right.
I think that's where we would need to put all our resources and brains together to figure it out.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I've heard you use this term, circular bioeconomy. You know, given this pressing imperative for transformative change you're describing in advancing environmental sustainability, particularly, of course, within the framework of circular bioeconomy, what are your aspirations for the intersection of research and political action? In other words, how do you envision these two realms converging to catalyze impactful and sustainable advancements in managing agricultural byproducts like that from the olive pomace or Chardonnay wine or any other wine mark for that matter?
Yeah, I think it really requires everyone to work together. The researchers work with companies, work with policymakers, and provide incentive to farmers or processors who can really make this a reality, because now we have research done, now we're gaining understanding, but how can we actually implement that into common practice? That I think that would be really important. And I always talked about good communication as a part of doing good science. So I do think that it's also important for researchers like myself who's doing the science to communicate all these learnings that we have and then share with the industry and policymakers to drive changes.
Well said. Very well said. So looking towards the future, where sustainable management of coastal Chardonnay mark, as well as, of course, your hero project of the olive pomace, where do you hope things go? Any future improvements?
I would love to see where we can really invest in all parts of the food system, starting from soil health to the crop health, and that will also transform into the healthier products that we eat, and the byproducts will also be healthier. And then we can implement the technologies and the lesson that we have learned through this project with pharmaceuticals on Chardonnay mark, and to transform the byproduct also into something that's tasty, healthy, and environmental friendly.
You said it. And it seems like that project, particularly the Chardonnay mark, I can speak on behalf, has checked all those boxes. And I couldn't be happier. I know you've tried it. I've certainly tried it. That WellVine, the end result, to your point, of the pharmaceuticals project that yielded through the research is wonderful ingredients now showing up in wonderful chocolate bars like Vine to Bar.
Yes.
We both tried this. I don't want to make you jealous, but I just had some yesterday over a wine pairing.
I have a box at
So
home.
good. Okay, so now we're arm wrestling. But what are your thoughts? Does Selina incorporate this now into her life as some kind of maybe even therapeutic and environmentally friendly
Yeah.
intervention?
Yeah, it tastes good and it's good for you. It's good for the environment. It checks all the boxes.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Well, thank you so much for the time today and the beautiful campus scenery and the olive oil trees. And I wish you all the best in all your future endeavors, and particularly the fact that you really got, Mother Earth in the centrality of your focus, and sustainability is right there. Because without that, without Mother Earth health, there's no health for humans, right?
That's right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much.
it.